Well, welcome everyone. I'm Jerry Costello, Director of the Illinois Department of Agriculture. Thank you for being here for the 2026 Illinois State Fair Buttercow unveiling. Pleased to have with us Governor J.B. Pritzker and First Lady M.K. Pritzker for the big reveal, as well as Becky Clark, our State Fair Manager, Kendra Anderson from Midwest Dairy, and our 2026 Illinois County Fair Queen, Krista Phillips. Ours is the only fairgrounds in the nation to sit on the historic Mother Road. And in tribute to her 100th anniversary, we have woven Route 66 themes into this year's Illinois State Fair, including the iconic Buttercow. I would like to thank our partners with Midwest Dairy for sponsoring the Buttercow. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to the mic for remarks our County Fair Queen, Krista Phillips.
Hello everyone, my name is Krista Phillips and I'm honored to be your 2026 Miss Illinois County Fair Queen. With this title, I have the incredible opportunity of being the official hostess of the Illinois State Fair, and I'm so excited for all the events I get to attend, this being my very first one, and just for all the excitement that's happening throughout the week. I want to give a big thank you to everybody who helped make this possible, and I'm so excited to see what this week has in store. So I'll pass it back to Director Costello.
Thank you very much, Krista. Now it's my pleasure to bring up Kendra Anderson with Midwest Dairy. She's honestly the driving force to the dairy building, everything that occurs here. Kendra, thank you again so much for your partnership. I can tell you I will personally spend a lot of money and a lot of time here with my grandkids. Kendra with Midwest Dairy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Kendra Anderson, Manager of Farmer Relations at Midwest Dairy. On behalf of Illinois dairy farmers, I'd like to welcome you to the dairy building and thank you for joining us for one of Illinois State Fair's most beloved traditions, the unveiling of the Buttercow. Midwest Dairy is proud to be a longtime partner of the Illinois State Fair, and we're excited to unveil this year's Buttercow sculpture inspired by the 2026 fair theme, Miles of Smiles. Now in its second year, we're also sponsoring a companion sculpture that adds another layer of fun and creativity to this iconic tradition. While you're visiting the dairy building, we invite you to explore our Dairy Does More Discovery Trail, where visitors can complete 3 interactive stops to learn how dairy supports nutrition, sustainability, and animal care. Along the way, you'll find hands-on exhibits, fun photo opportunities, and dairy ambassadors who are ready to answer questions and share what life is like on today's dairy farms. And of course, no visit to the dairy building is complete without a stop at the Dairy Goodness Bar. Fairgoers can enjoy cream puffs, milkshakes, soft-serve ice cream cones, and ice-cold milk, all proudly made with local dairy. Again this year, we're thrilled to bring back our flavor of the fair. This year's featured flavor is Cruisin' Candy Crunch, a fun, nostalgic treat inspired by Illinois State Fair's 2026 theme, Miles of Smiles, and the 100th anniversary of historic Route 66. Fairgoers can choose a rich and creamy vanilla or chocolate milkshake layered with colorful candy-coated chocolate pieces for a delicious new twist to a fair favorite. We're also proud to continue our partnership with Flam Orchards in Cobden, Illinois, by once again featuring local grown strawberries in our strawberry milkshakes. It's another great example of Illinois farmers working together to bring fresh local products to fairgoers. Whether you're here to see the Buttercow, enjoy a sweet treat, or learn more about today's dairy farms, we hope you'll spend some time exploring everything the dairy building has to offer. And thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you at the 2026 Illinois State Fair.
Thank you, Kendra. And now it's my pleasure to invite to the microphone the governor of the great state of Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker, who's a true fan of agriculture in this state. He is an incredible partner in these state fairgrounds and our state fairs. Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for your leadership of our Department of Agriculture, and thank you for helping us become one of the greatest states in the country for agriculture. MK and I really are thrilled to be here for our 8th unveiling of the Buttercow. And I want to say good afternoon to everyone that's joined us. We really are excited to be here, and we're ready for, the best Illinois State Fair that we've had yet. A big thanks not just to Jerry and the Department of Agriculture, but also to Becky Clark, who makes the fair great every year, and her family, I think, informs a lot of the decisions that she makes about the fair, which is so vitally important because the families of Illinois get to enjoy this fair because her family is so much very involved in that endeavor. So thank you very much for your leadership, Becky. And of course, Kendra Anderson of Midwest Dairy. Every year you provide this opportunity for people to come and enjoy this unveiling. And when they come into this building, what they get to see are some of the great crafts and, of course, the terrific treats that the dairy farmers of Illinois provide for all of us. Kendra is a leader and somebody that we rely upon and is a great representative for our dairy farmers. Congratulations also to our 2026 Miss Illinois County Fair Queen, Krista Phillips of Effingham County. It's not an easy job that you have. It's one, though, that's vitally important because it really shows off the best of our young people across the state of Illinois. Thanks and congratulations again to our sculptor this year, the same sculptor we've had now. This is our 10th in a row from Sarah Pratt. This Buttercow the unveiling is, of course, a perfect way to lead us into this state fair. But it's also a symbol of so much about Illinois' agriculture economy. Today we unveil our state's 106th Buttercow, a tradition that dates back to the 1920s. This year's state fair theme, you already heard, is Miles of Smiles, all about taking a spin on the Route 66. And it recognizes the 100th anniversary of that historic road that started right here in Illinois, runs from Chicago to Santa Monica, California. So many people drive it as a way to remember the past, but also we have so many traditions along the way, and people get to start right here at the fair, I hope. Indeed, this year will be chock full of smiles for the whole entire family, music and entertainment, something that we've upgraded over the course of my term in office. We have some really terrific acts that you'll get to see. Of course, the food and drink, rides and contests, our exhibits and our displays. There's going to be an opportunity for everybody to experience it, to play and grow and learn while they're here. Before the big unveiling, I want to remind you all to join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. At the main gate. It's always a great tradition to enjoy, and this year at the 2026 Illinois State Fair, ribbon cutting, you'll see, more than ever. And I want to just also point out that the Buttercow today, you're going to see, has two companions, a woman and her dog, heading out on a Route 66 adventure. So that's what the commemoration here is with the Buttercow, and I'm glad you're all here to join us, so let's get going. You ready? All right. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, everyone. I'm going to take a few questions from members of the media, and then we all get to go have some ice cream. Are you ready for that? How are you, Jeremy?
Why was IDFPR not regularly checking in on this South Chicago funeral chapel, this funeral home, being run by these certified bad actors, I know this is called them, at least in the last couple of months? Should IDFPR be doing this?
Well, just to be clear, the IDFPR is a licensing organization and takes reports from people about bad actors out there, people who have licenses that are issued by IDFPR, and then IDFPR goes and investigates that report. And that's in fact what happened here. As you know, it was the comptroller's office that was first notified. The comptroller's office came to us about it. And then, of course, the investigation where our IDFPR employees took Chicago Police Department with them to investigate. And that investigation is ongoing. The Chicago Police Department asked for help from the Illinois State Police, and they continue to seek out answers to the challenges that are, we've all uncovered now. And of course, the first thing I want to say is the horrific circumstances here of families that are now going through real anguishing moments about what's happened to the remains of their family members. And then from my perspective, I'm glad the police are involved, because I think people should be held responsible to the fullest extent of law and held accountable. And that's what we're trying to do now.
You were talking about the families. What do you say to families who say that whatever the state did as far as oversight goes is not satisfactory? Better oversight?
Well, it's the reporting that we should absolutely look at how we might reform. We're actually talking to the comptroller's office about how to do that better. But the process was followed, the process that's in the law now. And obviously, there was no reports that came in that would lead anybody to discover this until, July 29th was the beginning of this process.
How do you make sure this doesn't happen again in the state government?
I think you're raising an excellent point. I think the comptroller, the IDFPR, and the legislature are going to have to work together to see if there's a better mechanism. I will say IDFPR is a licensing organization, but the investigatory endeavor, we should all discuss whether that's something that should belong to IDFPR or to some other body.
Hey, Governor.
Yep. Brendan.
The Illinois Realtors probably saw it launch their housing accelerator program.
I did. Yeah.
I was talking to their CEO. He said that they really want to provide flexible, customizable blueprint that communities can all use to find their own solutions, which I know kind of seems to echo some of what the municipal league was saying about not a one-size-fits-all, finding a customizable what fits for the community. I guess, what are your thoughts on the launch of that, and is it kind of an acknowledgement that some of the aspects of the bill are maybe could be dead, and that
Well,
more of a carrot instead of a stick?
Well, I know that that's what IML has suggested. I will say that, first of all, I want to congratulate the Illinois Realtors. They are doing something vitally important, which is they're putting out standards that we're hoping that local governments will take up. The reason that we need build is because we want to set a minimum standard so that we are seeing real development of housing. Having voluntary following of these, of the suggestions that have been made by the Illinois Realtors would be great. It hasn't happened for too many years now. And so what we really want is uptake across the state. There are some minimum standards that I think are totally reasonable for us to go after. The IML never negotiated with us. They never came to us and said, well, here's a middle ground approach. They simply said, why don't you just hand us a bunch of money and we'll go figure something out. That's not what will work best. What will work best is investments as we're making into infrastructure, investments as we're making into helping people make down payments on new homes, and setting some standards so that counties and municipalities and townships can build more housing on property that is available, should be available to have more housing on.
So it's still
Go ahead, Peter.
Last week, State Board of Education released the distribution of EBF dollars
Yeah.
for school districts. Third year in a row that the number of districts at or above 90% has fallen. Third year in a row that the overall adequacy gap has grown. Is the EBF formula just not working anymore? You seem to be falling further and further behind.
Well, what we want is more dollars into education. There's no doubt that that's a need. That's why EBF exists. So let's start with that as a baseline. I think we all agree that we should put more in. And by the way, every year that I've been in office, we have put more in. Let me also point out that despite the, the adequacy that we talk about in EBF has to do with a funding level. And so when we're not putting enough in or we need to put more in, adequacy is always a challenge. I will say that the great news is that Illinois' kids are doing better. And despite the fact that we need more resources, we have more teachers than ever before in our schools. We have a higher graduation rate than we've ever had in the history of record keeping in the state of Illinois. We have a higher graduation rate overall. We also have a higher graduation rate for Latino students in high school. We have a higher graduation rate for black students in high school. And the fact that we have a better student-teacher ratio now is another reason why we're getting better results. But should we be putting more resources in? We absolutely should. I think we should be proud to be 5th in the nation among the 50 states for K-12 education, according to, well, many sources, but U.S. News and World Report just recently, World Population Review, CNBC ranked us 7th in K-12 education. Again, I'm not going to rest until we're number 1, but being 5th out of 50 ain't bad. Yes, sir. So the question was about higher than expected turnout in states that have had primaries over the last month or two. Let me start by saying there's higher than expected turnout among Democrats and not among Republicans. Higher than expected turnout among Democrats because there is a great desire, and people are showing up, by the way, registering as Democrat, and they're also showing up taking Democratic ballots in states like ours where you can show up and do that, in part because people want real change. That is something that is, I think, across the board, people are feeling like the federal government is not answering the call to help people pay their mortgage, to help people pay their electric bill, to do the things that really are necessary for people to have a better standard of living. We have a war in Iran that's now caused, well, all of our farm goods to cost more because fertilizer is hard to get now and prices have gone up. You go to the grocery store, the tariffs are affecting everything in a grocery store. Try to buy a car, tariffs once again. Across the board tariffs, and I'm for tariffs when they're targeted at saving jobs in the United States and building up industry that we need in the United States, but not these across the board things that are really a response to, well, Donald Trump just being upset because he doesn't like how Canada responded to being called the 51st state. So we need to do more to bring down prices. I think people are showing up because they want that kind of change. As to why progressives are winning in some places and not, maybe some in others, but Democrats are seeing this huge turnout, again, because whoever it is that's articulating a message that they're going to go to Washington and fight for people to get the things that I'm talking about affordability and bringing down prices, those are the candidates that are going to win, and people are showing up because they want to, those are the great political athletes that are out there making the case that I make here in Illinois, that it's past time now. The federal government did what they needed to do to help people in Illinois and everyday people have a better standard of living. I want to make sure I get, yeah. Sorry, Dave. Yeah. Yes, Dave. Thank you. Only right after the first story came out from one of our papers in Chicago. He called me and wanted to, let me know that the story was out or was coming out. And that was really the last time I had a conversation about that. As you mentioned, we unveiled the renaming of the Armory just yesterday to name it after Jim Edgar, the Jim Edgar Executive Office building, the Armory that's been rebuilt. So we were at the same event, but I didn't have a conversation with him there about it. I just want to make sure I got anybody other than CNI, and then I'll come back to CNI. Yes, ma'am. We have been on Route 60. We have not taken the entire, or even the entire route through Illinois. So, but I will say, one of the great things to do for people who have not been able to drive Route 66 or have any of the experiences along the way is there is a mini version of it right here at the State Fair, and I do commend to everybody that it's a fun thing to do. I mean, aside from the theme this year is all about Route 66, you can actually go see what's along Route 66 when you go to the exhibits that are right here at the Illinois State Fair. Yeah, I checked in. They want to comply, and indeed, I checked in, and honestly, either through the notification process or some mix-up, they did not know about the court date. And so they absolutely want to show up. It's not like they're avoiding it. We've got a great director there who is trying to do the right things, and so I'm certain that if the communication process is improved, and that's what we're looking to do, to make sure that they know when the court hearing is, they will show up. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate your asking. This is about state spending on the Illinois State Fair and fairgrounds, and I might want to turn it over to the ag director just to say, but I'll say up front that it's been important to me, and Jerry knows this, my entire team has known this, ever since I took office, to make sure that we assessed what it was that's needed at this fairgrounds, as well as in DuQuoin, where you have another fairgrounds and another state fair that will follow this, to make investments, because these are important for the local economy. We've got a lot of local retailers, local suppliers who benefit from the enormous crowds that are showing up. By the way, we've had record crowds over the course of my tenure in office because we've been promoting the fair and because we've upgraded the entertainment at the fair, and frankly, people are learning what a great time it is. And so I'm going to continue to make those investments. But I do want to turn it over to Jerry because I think he knows probably he can tick down all the investments that we've made, and they've really been significant.
Thank you, Governor. I'll try to be quick, but I can tell you exactly what the governor is talking about. Number one, these fairgrounds are an economic engine, not just for Sangamon County, the surrounding counties, but the entire state. If you look at the last economic impact study that was done overall, I think it was done in 2014. We're currently doing another one. At that point in time, it was about an $84 million annual economic impact, just the 11 days of the fair. I'm sure that that's well over 100 million now, because as the governor said, we've set attendance records, 773,000 2 years ago, last year 723,000. With 4 days over a 100-degree heat factor, I would add. We would have broken the record, I believe, otherwise. So it's the ROI that is coming back to the state from the investments on the fairgrounds are unbelievable. Right now, and the governor will make an announcement tomorrow that I can't exactly talk about, but we're talking about $117.8 million capital investment from the governor's capital bill, as well as about $68.5 million from the Department of Agriculture budget. So our budget going back into the fairgrounds from our building and grounds, that's about $190 million, coming off of the heels of an administration that went over 2 years without a budget. These are old buildings. They need a lot of work. We've redone roofs, roads, entire buildings. As you can all see, the fairgrounds look better than it has in decades.
Not to correct the director, but between the two fairs, we have over 1 million people attending our state fairs.
Yeah, that is exactly. I was talking about the Illinois State Fair in Springfield. You're right. And so he told me when I took this position 6.5 years ago, we have to beat Iowa. And at that point in time, they were at 1 million attendees. They're at like 1.2 million. Exactly to his point, we broke 1 million last year, and we're going to get them, sir.
There you go. That's good. Thank you very much. Yes, Ben. You guys are well represented here today, CNI, yes.
There's a bill on your desk to regulate e-bikes and e-scooters. We've seen a couple of stories, especially in the Chicago area this year, of accidents involving them, sometimes where the child riding it was at fault. Your thoughts on this bill, and do you plan to sign it?
Still looking at the bill. I mean, the things you've seen, we've released a lot of bills. I've signed a lot of bills so far. So still looking at it, but there's a purpose behind the bill that I think is valid. And as to the question of whether there ought to be changes made or maybe trailer bills, or I haven't evaluated that yet, so I really don't have a great answer for you. But I promise you, you will know as soon as I have those answers. Appreciate everybody.